All right, folks, so why are some people thriving in this economy and others are being completely crushed? I meet people every day. I talk to people every week. I'm trying to find a solution and I'm trying to find why others are vacationing, buying new cars, buying new properties, and some of these people are being affected so much that they are going into bankruptcies. So, what is the reason? Is it the field you're in? Is it the work or employment? Like, this is what I'm trying to touch on, right? Because for some reason it doesn't make sense. And it feels like that not everyone is being affected in the same way. So let's get into some of the industries that I touched up on with some people. So I showed people in the real estate. I spoke to them in the real estate sector, and they're completely crushed, right? Commissions, they're not getting paid on some of these pre-construction units. Because, by the way, if you bought a unit pre-construction a few years ago and you did not close on it, that particular realtor they have to by law return those commissions back, even though they got paid maybe a few years ago. And there's so much chaos when it comes to that, because some realtors went into that rabbit hole of sharing their commissions with their buyers or clients and stuff like that. Now those same realtors will call these people and will ask for some money back, or I don't know how they're going to do it, but the game plan here is they have to return these commissions. So real estate definitely hit. Now, retail and hospitality, layoffs are on the horizon. I spoke to many, and if you're in hospitality, please comment below. But they said, layoffs, reduced hours. That's another thing that, many people got their hours reduced to either part-time or maybe minimal, right? So especially small restaurants and family businesses, right? So they've been hit a lot, and now it's obviously the tariffs and everything is being more expensive, so people are choosing where they're going to dine out or go out and what they'll buy, right? So, by the way, I met a friend of mine the other day in Costco, and we were talking and stuff like that, and literally we spent like, $200. I don't even know what I bought. Like, it could have gone in a little small bag. But anyways, besides the point. Construction. Construction has been hit. Not everybody, like those ones that already have these, obligations, or they're still crafting something, or they're kind of completing these projects. Obviously, they're busy. But I heard from construction people, a lot of cancellations, financing collapses. Some of these builders, they cannot fulfill these projects because the money is crazy, right? Like they cannot, right? So massive layoffs in pre-con and trades. So a lot of people in the unions, they say, look, like, we had all these gigs and now they're putting us on hold. We've been sitting on a couch for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or whatever, right? So those sectors are being obviously pulled back and they are being hit. Mortgage brokers and appraisers, pipeline froze. I spoke to many, and they said, look, like, I had to get out of the industry. I could not sustain myself, right? Because there were not a lot of new mortgages. We had to deal with only mortgages that were kind of remortgage and stuff like that. That doesn't pay a lot, right? Like, you're basically kicking the can for the next quarter. You're just trying to survive, right? But there's really no big money to be made, right? Appraisals, obviously not a lot of people are buying properties. They're not appraising. There's really no need. Yes, the banks are appraising their own projects. They're appraising pre-con units and stuff like that, but that's more internally, right? So I don't know, they're being hit. That's what I heard. Logistics and delivery, slowing consumer demand is hitting truckers and warehouse workers, right? Spoke to many, AZ licensed people, and they said, like, look, like, we are driving and we're, like, putting all these miles, right? But there's less and less demand to go across country, right? And then these deliveries that are local, they're not paying as much, so obviously their income has been cut, like obviously cut by 50%, right? On the other hand, logistic people, owners, they have to buy a truck. They have to be in the game to win the game, if you know what I'm saying. So gas went up. Everything that is associated with trucking, through the roof. Like the expenses are crazy. So people are just trying to figure out how they will do things. But essentially, the bottom of the line is that people are earning way less what they did. So who is actually thriving? Who are all these people? They're whining and dining and buying all these cars, buying these properties, and they're the ones that are saying, guys, what is wrong with you? Nothing is wrong with the economy. We're doing fine. So let's get into that. So government workers and public sector. So I did speak to some people in government and this public sector, and they say, well, some people got laid off, but overall we're doing fine. Like there's really no fire up, on their chair, or there's really no talks about major layoffs when it comes to the sector. So they're very chill, they're very comfortable, and they just keep grinding like it's regular 9 to 5, right? So cooperative tech and finance services, high income still stable. So yes, the finance sector on the high end, and corporation tech, they've been thriving. Like I have not spoken to anybody in the tech industry that they said like, look, I don't know, like I had a bad day, right? Or I didn't get paid last month or anything like that, right? So that seems to be working. I don't know exactly to give you an example in which exact specific sector, but they said they were in IT. Landlords with multiple properties. So this is kind of like a 50-50, I have to be honest with you. And how so? Because I do believe that some landlords that got into the game in the peak are losing their shirt, right? But some landlords that have been around for a long time and they have that particular buffer, they're doing just fine, right? Like they're doing fine. The rents increased over the peak. They're feathering down, but if they have all these agreements and tenants in place already, I mean, they're safe, and I see that, right? So only big units, big count units, people that I spoke to that have 20, 30, 40, 50 unit portfolios, they're not complaining, right? The odd Joe that bought it in the peak, he's complaining, right? So people sitting on a locked in gains from earlier investments, I just said that earlier, and then trust fund, inherited wealth cycles. So the trust fund also is somebody who over the course of decades inherited a lot of money, inherited a lot of property, and they're just continuing riding that particular wave. I find that they're not really stressing out, but they have not lifted that weight themselves anyways. They're just either continuing to kind of go through their life with somebody else's savings that, or inheritance, right? But listen, it is maybe their gift. It is how the cookie crumbled. But those people are not complaining. So the economy isn't collapsing equally, it's collapsing selectively. Some people are shielded by wealth, assets, or job stability. Others are exposed to every rate hike, every job loss, every financial risk. If you're not hurting, it doesn't mean the pain isn't real. It just hasn't reached you yet. So that's $1 million question. Has it reached you yet? Do you believe that it will not reach you, and your safety blanket is large? So when I spoke to people, financial advisors a few years ago at the peak, they said, look, as long as you have like a 2-3 month buffer, you'll be fine, right? Now speaking to the same people, they say like, look, maybe you need like a 6 month buffer, maybe you need a 1 year buffer in order to ride this wave out. So I hope you got some value out of this video, and please comment below what you think. Are you in any of these sectors? Are you comfortable, or do you really believe that this everything is going downhill, including maybe yourself or your neighbors, or or we are should hit the panic button or panic mode. So please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.